Hi, all. So I just wanted to give you a couple of examples of multiplying fractions here that you can reference. Multiplying fractions. All right. So when we multiply fractions, we are making groups of things, right? So 6 groups of 2. Only this time we have fractions. So when you have something like 1/2 of 1/3, that means you're going to take a third. We're going to represent that, and then we're going to take half of it. Okay. And so what we're going to do, this is the same as 1/2 times 1/3. Okay. So that's how we're interpreting it. So we start out by representing the second number, actually. And it doesn't really matter. You could start with the first number. But the way I have it written, I'm taking 1/2 of 1/3. So I'm going to represent 1/3 first. So I'm going to divide it vertically to 3 equal pieces. And I'm going to shade one of those. Now I want half of this. So I'm going to go ahead and cut it in half the other direction. So we're going to cut it into 2 rows. And I'm going to shade one of those rows. Now, I don't want half of the whole box. I only want half of what I shaded. And so half of what I shaded is the box that's been shaded twice. So it's this box right here. So how many boxes is that? That's only one box that has been double shaded out of a total of 6 pieces in that hole. So that means that 1/2 times 1/3 gives me 1/6. Notice that I didn't need to create the same number of pieces between the two of them because I'm cutting up the same thing into multiple pieces and only selecting some of it. Okay. And so all you're doing here is you're multiplying the 1 by the 1 and the 2 by the 3, right? Because our 2 by 3 columns is what created our total number of pieces. So we want that number on the bottom. And we went 1 row by 1 column, and that's only 1 box. Okay. Now, what's one? Let's see. What's 2/3 of 3/4? Excuse me. I'm sorry. Sneezing. Okay. So we want 2/3 times 3/4, and that's 2/3 of 3/4. So I'm going to start by drawing my 3/4. So I want my big box. I want to cut it into fourths. Okay. And then we're going to shade 3 of them. Okay, that's my 3/4. Now I want 2/3 of this. So I'm going to cut that same hole, or really just my shaded part, into 3 equal pieces. Because I want to take that 3/4 and I want to make it into 3 piles and keep 2 of them. So there's my 3 rows, and I'm going to keep those top 2. Okay, so now we've got it shaded. So now the pieces that are double shaded. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of them out of a total of 12 boxes. And that, of course, we can then reduce, because if I put those 2 green boxes down where the yellow ones are, you can see that that's half the box. Okay, and that's the same as taking 2/3 times 3/4. And that gives us 6 on the top and 12 on the bottom. Reduce them both by 6s to get a whole your 1/2. And then let's do one last example. So I want 1/4 times 2 and a third. Now let's make it 2 and a fifth. Okay. Okay, so 2 and a fifth. There's a whole one. And I'm just going to cheat and reproduce. There we go. There's 2. And we're going to need a fifth. Okay, so shading in. I need a whole 2 whole boxes shaded in yellow to get my 2 and a fifth. Okay, then this last one we're going to cut into fifths. 1, 2. Apologize if there's a lot of background noise. 3, 4, 5. And I'm shading one of them. Okay. Okay, so there's my 2 and a fifth. And I want 1/4 of that. Right? That would be one whole group, but I don't want a whole group. I want a fourth of a group. So I'm going to cut that into fourths horizontally. Now, you would normally, let me backtrack for a second. You would normally change that 2 and a fifth into a mix, an improper fraction. So I'm going to go ahead and cut all of them into fifths. We cut them all into fifths, then I'm making it an improper fraction. We're going to find out how many fifths I have in 2 and a fifth. Okay, so now you can see that I've turned them into all fifths, and I have 11 fifths, right? So if we had converted 2 and 1/5, that gives us 11 fifths, and we're taking 1/4 times 11 fifths. Okay, so that's how we get that improper fraction. And we want 1/4 of it. So I'm going to cut that whole thing into 4 rows. There we go. And the last one gives me those 2. And then I only want one of those 4 rows. So I want this top row. And so what do I have? Well, each of those boxes is now cut. It's 4 by 5. So it's now cut into 20 pieces. So each of those little pieces is a 20th. And I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 of them double shaded. And so my answer is going to be 11 20ths. And you can see that that's just 1 times 11 and 4 times 5. So that's what we have.